time now for the morning stir, and McDonald's, as you've never seen it before, this morning revealing secrets to some of your favorite menu items for the first time, and ABC's Gio Benitez got an exclusive, unprecedented access.
But for long, some customers haven't been smiling, questioning how their food is produced, a process most of us have never seen until right now.
Inside the fast food giant's massive operation.
It's that iconic burger joint. McDonald's, serving millions of Americans for more than 70 years with that famous smile.
You might want to finish this video before you finish that nugget. McDonald's calls it chicken, but the texture you crave is engineered starch, oils, and binders built to keep a perfect crunch under heat lamps. We're reverse engineering the McNugget and the McChick patty to show how much of what you're biting is about shape, shelf life, and mouthfeel, not protein. By the end, you'll know exactly which ingredients are propping up that juicy bite, what that means for sodium and carbs, and how to spot better options without paying more.
Here you are opening your doors to us.
Yes.
Why?
Well, we're starting on a journey called Our Food, Your Questions, and we want to open up the doors and let our customers ask us any questions they have and give them the answers.
So this is it. This is the first time you're letting any television crew in here.
Yes, this is the first time.
Wow.
We're making history.
We are walking into one of McDonald's top secret food plants in Fresno, California. It won't be easy. Americans have had tough questions for the mega fast food company. Those questions right in McDonald's latest commercial launching today.
I think it's disgusting.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
McDonald's says the patties are 100% beef. The recipe, they say, is nothing more than a blend of leaner beef trim and fattier trim.
McDonald's even sell real food.
We suit up in sterile wear to see it for ourselves.
So this is what we call beef trim,
Okay.
and it comes from familiar cuts that you may know, like chuck and round and sirloin. Just like you would get at the grocery store, you buy like an 80-20 blend.
The beef is ground, blended together, made into those famous patties. Letting the public see this all can be risky. But with so many people on social media,
You bite, it crunches, your brain files it under chicken. Then it snaps. Real muscle tears. This breaks neat like a wafer with a poultry accent. That clean edge tells you more than the box. Let's start with the job a nugget has on a factory line. It must hold a cartoon shape, fry in minutes, and sit under heat lamps without sagging. So the meat is not left to act like meat. It's organized to behave on schedule, every time, in every store.
Fast food and takeout. It's cheap, it's easy, it's tasty. And it's often loaded with sodium, a major factor in the growing epidemic of preventable health issues. The goal? To lower each American's current average daily sodium intake by roughly 12%, from 3,400 to 3,000 milligrams a day. And even that is still higher than what the government really recommends, which is why the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Wednesday issued new guidelines calling on chain restaurants and packaged food companies to set sodium reduction targets over the next 2.5 years.
Here's how that happens. The chicken gets ground and blended with water so it flows. Food starches go in to gel and firm. Leavening sets up bubbles for a light bite. Seasonings add punch and cover any bland notes. The mix turns into a paste that molds like dough, then hardens in hot oil into tidy units. The coat is its own machine. First a wet batter to glue the surface, then a dry breading to build a shell. That shell traps steam, throws microbubbles, and locks in a long-lasting crunch while limiting oil soak. That's why the bite stays loud after a ride home.
Dangers of sodium is too much, actually, we know impacts the kidney. So that's going to affect our blood pressure, and we have an explosion of high blood pressure.
A study published in the CMAJ found that sodium levels decreased in about 30% of foods, increased in about 16% of foods, and stayed the same in about 54%. In other words, their food is almost as salty as ever.
Especially high blood pressure that's uncontrolled and that's undiagnosed.
Nearly half of all Americans have high blood pressure, a leading cause of heart attacks and strokes.
Research on processed poultry is blunt about the role of binders. Modified starches and phosphates hold water and smooth the texture. They make the bite feel plump. They do not add protein. They help the system survive freezing, frying, and the heat shelf without weeping out into the box. Think of it like drywall mud for meat. Breadable, shapeable, then it sets and the panel plays nice with screws and time. There's a cost on the plate. That engineered crunch brings salt and refined carbs from the batter and starch. In a small box, those can rival the protein by weight. The savory hit you like is padded by flour and sodium, not just chicken. So the nugget stays perfect because it's built to. Starch and binders do most of the work. The chicken plays supporting actor. Now let's move on to the sandwich, where the same blueprint hides in a round patty that feels tender long after it should. The McChick. If that patty still tastes juicy 2 hours later, ask what is holding the water. Meat fibers don't do that by themselves. Additives do. Let's start with the target. A thin, uniform disc that cooks fast, looks the same in every zip code, and survives the sandwich line without cracking. Whole muscle fights that plan, so the meat gets reworked to behave. Real chicken fibers shred when you bite. Restructured patties flex and spring back. They bend because the fibers are no longer in charge. The mix is, here's the build. Minced chicken gets mixed with water to loosen it. Food starch and binders go in to make a smooth emulsion that acts like a spread, not a pile of fibers. That paste presses into tidy circles that release cleanly from molds, freeze well, and fry on cue. The coat doesn't just crunch, pads the bite. Wheat flour and seasonings add bulk, so the patty feels bigger and chewier while stretching the meat further. That outer layer helps the shape hold, traps steam, and slows drying under heat lamps. Research on processed poultry explains the moisture trick. Sodium phosphates raise pH and help proteins grip water. Dextrose adds browning and a faint sweet edge, so the flavor pops even when the meat is mild. The result is a moist, springy chew that reads as fresh even after a long hold. Here's the cost lens. You pay for predictability, shape, salt, starch, while the share of straight protein in each bite shrinks. The system buys volume with water and coating, not more chicken. Health-wise, that means higher sodium per ounce than plain cooked chicken. The breading stacks on refined carbs. So a sandwich you think of as just chicken pushes past what you expect for salt and starch, bite for bite. Call it moisture on credit. The binders front the juiciness, and the bill comes due in sodium and extra carbs. So what is the takeaway if you want the protein without the processing tax? Here's the real kicker. The crunch and the juiciness you crave are built by starch and binders, not by chicken, so you carry extra sodium and carbs for the privilege. That engineered bite is reliable, but it stacks your day with salt and filler you did not plan for. If this gave you something to chew on, swap once this week. Choose grilled or a simpler protein. Read for binders first. Short lists win. You want protein, not props. Vote with your order and your cart. Like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets.